Hey everybody, I am all alone. Sorry about that. My name is for any of you that have done this, going from one thing to another with like uh, about a minute break, which I just was on a very kind of a important, somewhat important phone call, and I hung up, and then now I'm here. So, hi everybody. Adam Zembruski here with Hospiamo. We are live. This is episode number 30. My brother Matt Zembruski is going to be on in studio very soon. Um, Today is a bit of a year in review. And so um, I have lots to share. And we also invited to join. Uh, 23 other guests that have joined us since May 25th. And I don't, how we usually run this is that it's not scheduled, right? We don't send out this calendar or to say like, hey, next week we have this person, next week we have that person. I tried that, to be honest, and it just didn't work. I also tried to write up agendas, and my brother calls it time boxing, and like I don't know, it just seemed clunky and it seemed, rehearsed, and this is, as you know, definitely not rehearsed. So, what you see is what you get, and, what I do, if anybody that watches this and, that you enjoy this program, us talking like kinda like a casual, talk show, um Caitlin, our previous guest last week, she actually said it's kind of like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. um, Come on in, let's have a chat. Welcome to our neighborhood. So it does. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling pretty good about that. So um, we always invite our previous guests to come on anytime. We do use StreamYard, and I love it. I love StreamYard because it's one link that you send to people, click on it, and as long as they have a microphone and a um, uh, what do you call those things? Cameras. um, then you'll be good to go. And so that's how we roll. And so, anyone of you, anybody listening, please, and you got my cell phone number, just text me and say, I want to be on next week's show. And I can promise you, if we've stayed in touch over the last 25 years or so, or 30 years, I would love to reconnect with you if it's been a long time. My brother, I am sure, would love to reconnect with you if it's been a while since you've spoken with him. This show really has no name. I've tried to name it many times. People who move, hospitality visionaries, agile worlds colliding, like I don't know. I'm not really motivated to give it a name, to be honest, because that's not really wasn't why we started. Meaning to be the greatest, most popular podcast on the planet. Um, we already have millions of fans, so it's like, why try harder? So the what we are talking about today, and is a review, a year in review, and so I'm going to share my screen. This is our 30th episode. As I have reminded many people that I try not to get emotional on these. Well, I do get emotional, but try not to cry because my brother and I have spent more time together doing this. Right, it's every single week, at least for an hour, and then we talk about the topics. We follow up. We talk about each other's industry. And so this has been something that we've been able to do. He's up in Boston, I'm in Charlotte, and this has been so much fun. And it just came out as an idea to do something consistently. That's something that I have always needed to do a better job with, staying consistent about something and not just, um, moving on to the next thing. And so I have received benefits from that consistency, and maybe that's a future episode. And also to try new things. And so this for this, it was not a New Year's resolution earlier in the year. It was a, kind of a natural progression into trying new things, and my brother has a lot to do with that. We're very different, uh, similar mindsets, but, and similar cultures and how we like to, interact with people, but, different industries, man. The hotel industry is very different from, like, software engineering or agile leadership and management and coaching and things like that. So, um, this has been so, rewarding, and so, um, I'm going to be giving many shout outs today because this is a year in review. Now, a lot of year in reviews, year end reviews, they're saying that it's going to be their last show, right? That's not the case here. We're going to do this next week too. Um, I think about maybe 5 or 6 out of the 30 have been pre-recorded, so it looks like it's live, but it's not. It's pre-recorded earlier in the week, and so but when I do that, I can't do my cool little countdown, which I love so much. No, that's not it. So, today I am going to share my screen, and, you may not be able to hear it, but I'm not gonna play any audio anyway, but I'm gonna go to our YouTube channel. So we are live on LinkedIn Live, every week at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. This using StreamYard, excuse me. We stream live to, I think, 7 different pages and 7 different or, like 3 or 4 different platforms. So, we have Hospiamo, right? That's the company page on, LinkedIn Live. My personal page, Adam Zembruski, come see me on LinkedIn. Let's connect. But also we have, Facebook pages, for, Hospiamo, and we have, Twitter, or X pages for Hospiamo. We have, um, oh, the Hospitality Industry Impact Initiative, or HI3. That's the nonprofit that we started. We haven't done a lot of talking about that, but it's pretty awesome. It's a school for hospitality leaders and emerging leaders, looking for, to connect into a mentoring, atmosphere. And, we have big dreams for it. We haven't really, completely launched it yet, but we are essentially ready to go with it. And so the HI3, or Hospitality Industry Impact Initiative, it's a 501(c)(3), educational nonprofit. It's before the end of the year, so if you want a tax exemption, send send me an email. We would love to receive some of that into the 501(c)(3) bank account. Um, and yeah, so they have their own Facebook page, they have their own LinkedIn page, and they also stream live there too. So, if you're seeing my pretty bald bearded glasses face, then, we are live right now. So, uh, I am going to share my screen, um, and go through, the last year of fun that we've had. It's sincere, genuine fun. It's insane fun because it's 1 hour a week where we get to spend time with the people that inspire us. Some of them I've not even met face to face yet, but they're connected into our growing, really beautiful network of people. And so they say during podcasts not to have any uncomfortable silences, so you're going to have to deal with it. I am searching on the YouTube channel looking for it. So, okay, so we're here. Yeah, let me share my screen. So if you are, waiting in anticipation, it's about to all happen right now. Nope. No, it's not. Now it is. You might see some other stuff on my screen. I don't care. My life, my house is your house. Okay, so here's the YouTube page on, add text to values. I was, searching for some, Excel help. Um, yeah, this is gonna be pretty cool. So I'm gonna very quickly go through the year in review and talk about. I've been keeping in touch with everyone that's been on the show, and very just I'm all jazzed up because many of the people that we've invited on the show, we didn't know why we started it. To be honest, we just, like I said, just wanted to be consistent, try something new, and to keep going, right, and just challenge ourselves. We said 10 episodes, now we're at 30, so mission accomplished. But really, what the outcome here so far is that um, previous guests have been using the fact that this is a podcast, right? I mean, we might not have a name, but you can call it whatever you want. Um, but the reason why we invite people on here is because they're very special, and that's why we've kind of been calling it the people who move. It's because our first episode, which I'm going to show you, it was all about um, it was all about, I think we called it doing the impossible, right? And so um, playlists, here they are. So here was number one. So we've got Chuck. See if I can make this a little bit bigger. Can I? Yeah, there we can. All right. Cool. There's my brother Matt. Okay. Dave Waldman, John St. Omer, Derek Farley, and Chuck Cooper. What's up, fellas? You know, I can't say enough about this group of great human beings. And it was like literally a week where my brother and I said, "Hey, let's start doing a podcast." Because he was like, "Adam, you got to start getting your thoughts and your ideas." And he knows that I take my thoughts up here, and when they stay up here, they just get scrambled like scrambled eggs. But if I'm able to articulate them and verbalize them, then just better things happen. I do use this as a bit of a therapy session every week, so it's great. And I think that other people have given me that feedback too. So when they come on, I want it to have to be an environment where they put down their barriers or their walls and just talk and express themselves. And so what has happened is that many of the people that we've had on the show have used this, and I want them to. Like on LinkedIn, they say, "I was just invited onto a podcast." Hey, there's my brosif. There's my bro.
Hey,
BR Osif.
end monologue. Cue dual discussion.
I will finish my monologue, which you know that I would go on for the next 5 hours. So I'm glad that you're here, man, to bail me out. If anyone was listening, they've already tuned it out. They're like, "What's this guy talking about?" So, um, I was talking about how I was talking about you, inspiring me to kind of express myself publicly more and talk about my thoughts about Hospiamo and how much of a benefit that has been. Talked about how you and I have had something to do every week, right? Which was
Oh
just
yeah.
personally fulfilling. I said I wasn't going to cry, but today is a year in review, and it's been such a beautiful year. Love having something to do with you. You know what I mean? Like it's like,
Love it too.
sure,
Yeah.
we can talk about stuff, but I mean, this is an actual project, which is awesome. And so, and then I was talking about the maybe call it the unexpected outcomes, and one of the unexpected outcomes, and I've been saying this more to people that have been on our show. I told this to John Cardonia, who is looking for work. John is like the best building engineer, renovation, construction guy, project manager that I know, and he's looking for work. He's looking for projects. He's looking for jobs. And I said, John, throw it on your resume. Be proud about the fact that you have been invited on our show 5 or 6 times, and it's not because I think he's a good-looking guy. He's yeah, he's a good-looking guy. But I mean, it's because I honestly and genuinely respect him as a professional, and I respect his opinion. And if there's a way that he can use that, the fact that
Mm-hmm.
this is a podcast, even though I do make fun that we still don't have really a name, and that's fine. So it's just that it's a podcast. We talk about these things, and he is an expert. And so he told me about a month ago. I hadn't even thought about that. And I said, "Yeah, man,
Put it
use
in.
it.
He should
use
put like
it.
consultant or whatever in
Yep.
his time since he left the previous place. Just now he's a consultant. He's consulted on the podcast, right? He's done a lot of other consulting work. I know you guys have talked about before. So he's been very active. He hasn't been just sitting down on the couch waiting for an opportunity, right? He's
No,
active all the time. So yeah, it's important to capture. I agree. And his LinkedIn, capture that and then speak to it. Podcast should be one of the bullets in there.
we should probably even think about talking about that as a topic someday, because I guess the topic would be, are you identifying the things that you're actually doing and putting it into words and telling people that you did it? Because I still do that. Like, I didn't even, if I have if I'm part of a project and it's public and it's all good and everything's going well, I don't really, sometimes I don't, it doesn't trigger me to be like, hey, I should tell the world, I should add this to my resume, I should add this as
Right.
a project on LinkedIn, and then I'll start to do it. But yeah, we should be very. I'm excited that this platform has been used to benefit many others. There's been a couple internal promotions that people have received, not because of this podcast, but just people that we've had on the show, and I just love it, man.
Yeah.
I think it's our success is their success is ours, and um, it's just a wonderful thing. And the third thing that I was going to say is the fact that, and I was just telling Caitlin Cooley, who was last week, as you remember, I was talking to her again this morning. We got a pretty fun project that we're working on together. And I said, you know how beautiful it is to see you and my brother and John Cardonia, who they never knew you, you never knew them. And we're on here talking about these common things that we have in common.
Mhm.
And I thought that was, I don't want to say that was my favorite episode, but it went, all these are unplanned and unscripted, right? And so it went in a way that was, how I imagined this show and conversations could be. And so we've come a long way. Where somebody knew, I mean, she decided to come on that podcast that day.
Mm.
And so that means she has her whole life that led her to that point to be able to even feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
And she was honoring us with an hour long of experiencing her life with us. And it's just a beautiful thing that, and then, I mean, what would make my head explode is if you and Caitlin, next year start working together or something like that. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like, it's just,
It can happen. Yeah.
things bloom. It could happen. And things like that are happening. So, um,
I think to that point, I think it's important for you, and we can figure out better ways to do this. But I liked how you sent out an email this morning to all the previous participants, or most of them, and invited them to come on, because I've seen that work with other communities well, where they're different. They weren't sort of like an open discussion podcast like this, which is it's a unique way to do it. But my point in the point I want to make is it's important to continue growing and building and communicating amongst this community of people who have participated in this podcast. Right now, an email once a week. Hey, we're doing it again this week. Feel free to join. Here's the topic, right? Love to see you there again. Whatever it is, because at some point, what will probably happen, I've seen this happen with other, like a marketing coach who I've worked with, people who hire him into his group program or whatever, they all show up in the beginning, they're learning and growing, whatever. But then eventually they've already gotten the knowledge from him, and now they're just there, showing up once a week, typically. Maybe they're not there every week, but once a week, there's a little group Zoom. He might share a few things going on, but the community is where the energy is.
yeah,
And that's what you're saying about like me and Caitlin and John coming together. So, and right now you're in the center of it. And right now we're using email, which is good. But just for us to be, stay conscious of the fact that it's important to continue adding, as people are invited onto this, they become part of the group of, they were part of this podcast, and we're going to
yeah,
be communicating with them forever, until they say, forget it, don't email me anymore, right? That way we can continue the conversation, because at some point, I'm going to be like, oh, I could use some help from somebody like Caitlin. Oh yeah, Caitlin's in the group. I haven't seen her in about a month. I should go reach out to her, right? But
Right.
because
Or join if you didn't join last week or something like that, right?
yeah,
Or
join.
come on
Coach
in,
Eagle's
hop
going to be
in.
on this week, so I'll join, and we'll
Yeah.
chat. So anyway, I'm just saying, keep doing what you're doing to keep people connected, because I know most of the people don't show up every week, but there's a lot of value in that
Yeah.
community. There's a lot of
I
value.
know what you mean because we've talked about this before, and I even started to pre-plan it, like, and not use it on StreamYard, but like pre-record it. And I got to actually too many people, like they're like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to do this. And then I kind of like fell behind on it because I was like, well, I don't know how to mechanize that. And so with, using Zoom and pre-recording, and I think I had that figured out, but you're right. I got to put that back on the to-do list because that is that's the vibe that I want here. But at the same time, I think a lot of people that have been on are also respectful to know that we do, have relationships that we do want to invite on, and I don't want that to be all about that. So maybe it's even another half hour or hour conversation during the day. So
And it could be
good.
something it could be like a private LinkedIn group or Facebook group or just email lists like you have right now, whatever it is. But then as
Yeah,
people are invited to this, they become part of that inner circle, like this group, right?
yeah,
And then they'll start working together. They'll start chatting together. Like I have one person who I'm an accountability partner with, and she's out in Colorado with her business partner because I met her through this other group, and I see her every now and then in that other group, but her and I stay in touch because her business with her partner and my business, they're different, but we keep each other accountable to some of the stuff we're working on. And that's a really valuable relationship that comes out of it. Just like everybody we've had on as a guest here, there's cross pollination that happens, right? Like
yeah.
I know John, and Evelyn and all these people who you've known and been impressed with. I become impressed with when I get to meet them. Every one of our guests. And then I'm like, wow, that'd be really cool to work with them or talk about this or ask this. And then we can start supporting each other with whatever we're doing, right?
I would say yes, but I want to challenge you on using the word start, right? So I
We're already doing
I
it.
do some of the things are already happening naturally, but also I do challenge anybody to just do it, right?
Yeah.
So a great example was, and well, I don't want to use names, but a previous guest of ours called me and said, "I want to talk to that person that you had on a couple weeks ago. Is that
Cool.
okay?" And I said, "Yes." I first asked that person, I said, "Is it cool if I give you, connect you with this?" And
Yeah.
they were like, "Yeah." And so, but that person that called me, he took the initiative to say he saw like an avenue. He saw a road to come in, and then boom, I'm part of this thing. And so I do not think that that is happening enough, meaning
Exactly.
get aggressive on getting in connection with somebody that you think is interesting, that might be able to help you, that you
Yeah.
might be able to help them. Don't wait for, I know this is not what you're saying, but I think the platform is really important to do it week by week, but also, just get yourself out there and be like, "Hey, I saw this thing," and just reach out to somebody and say, you got something common and that you have a platform to be able to say, "I saw you on here." You don't
Yeah.
even need to call me or
Yeah.
you can be like, "I saw you on it." Reach out to that person. Like, it's the beauty of this platform that we have because the intention here is not financial. The intention or the motivation is not financial. It's not like impressions and
Yeah.
listeners and comments and likes. And sure, someday maybe it does become something more than that. But it is a platform, and we invite people to jump on, and but it does take some initiative on that side to be like, "Hey, I want to come back." So I invite. That's why I send those emails sometimes, and everyone's busy. Everyone's got stuff going on. It doesn't concern me if they don't come on or don't respond. That's completely fine. But I do, and I'm going to keep on reminding them we are here,
Hmm.
and you can, because sometimes, like me, I need to be reminded that I have a friend over there, or
Yep.
a connection in Kansas, or something like that when somebody pops up. So yeah, so looking back over the year, I think that that has been the main theme. We have been developing a platform that we didn't know what it was going to look like, and I think that that journey that we talked about the unknown last week,
Yep.
that has probably been the theme. It's like it started out with this first episode, and I'll go quickly here, but it started out with this one, and the this one was all about doing what you thought was impossible. If you remember, bro, this
Yep.
was,
Yep.
and so Chuck's. I'll try to remember some of the things that they said. So Chuck was an author. He wrote a book. He never thought that that was possible.
Yep.
It's on Amazon. Please reach out to Chuck Cooper. His book is called Unprecedented. You can find it on Amazon in your local bookstore. And then Dave Waldman, he told an awesome story about him as a young, I want to say like a salesperson in New York City, and meeting his mentor for the first time, and the relationship and what that meant to him and how that person helped his life and career. We got Derek Farley, that's a public relations expert that has spent so much time with us, and he told a story about he shortly before we had this episode, he was a preacher for the first time at his church, and he is so articulate and well spoken. And he sent me his video and stuff, and so he was going back on his life. He goes, I never even thought that was possible until he just tried it. And then John St. Omer talked about his life, coming from Jamaica, and all the things that had to kind of be in front of him to allow him to move forward in his life, and all the things that he's had to overcome in his life and career. And so that was awesome. And so that's what kicked all this off, right? And then
We're shining a spotlight on people who move, right? That's the original theme.
that's what, and we hadn't really thought about it yet, right? We had I think the original theme was people who move, because I was inspired, continuous to be inspired by Sir Ken Robinson, his speech
Mhm.
on TED Talk. So and that's all over the Hospiamo business model about what you need in order to affect change and get through change, which is um, I'm going to butcher his quote, but he said, "There's a lot of people on the earth. There's the people that are immovable, that just whatever you tell them, they're going to believe what they believe, and they won't move off of that. And then
Yep.
there's people who are movable, and those are the ones that'll listen to you and maybe be a part of you and stay in touch with you,
Yep.
but and they're flexible." He said, and then there's the people who move.
Yeah.
And that's a quote. And he said, that is what it takes for a revolution, he said. And he was talking about educational system in the United States and creativity. And so it gives me chills to think about that. So
Yep.
please go check out Sir Ken Robinson in 2000, I want to say 14, TED Talk. And it's about
About
the
his book,
desert.
The Element, right? Wasn't that one
Yeah,
about?
the element. Yep. Yep.
Love that
And
book.
his speech is about the
The Desert.
desert of education. Yeah, because um, it's also inspired a couple other names in our company. So the Super Bloom event that happened about 10, 15 years ago, and it's not the Death Valley is not dead; it was dormant, and it
Mhm.
just needed a bunch of rain, and then it was covered in wildflowers. So um, yeah, the this is the second episode, bro, and I'm gonna, just tell me if anything sparks with you.
Evelyn.
This
Woo!
is awesome. This is Evelyn Barnes Willingham. She's in Alabama. She's a hospitality pro. Second episode, and what I remember about this, when I asked her to, I said, "Hey, we've had a relationship on LinkedIn." But I said, I gotta know more about you. I find you fascinating, right? And I think it's really cool what you do and what you share on LinkedIn. And she was like, yeah. And like, we became like best friends over the phone. And then when you and I started to do this, I said, hey, do you want to come on? And, we're talking about mentorship. We're talking about leadership. And she started her own nonprofit called Boss Women on a Mission. I said, you're just friggin' amazing. Like, do you want to come on and talk? And I would love to highlight you and what you do. And she goes, no, 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 no. How many other people can I bring? That's what's the first thing that she said. So
Yeah.
her instinct was not about how can I promote me, Evelyn. It was like, I want to bring my people on. And I have, I say this in the true sense of love. I have fallen in love with Evelyn because there's a lot of love there from her, and it just emanates. Um,
And that was a
and just
great
like
show.
I've kind of fallen in love with almost all of our guests. And so she comes on, and she really said, "How many people can I bring?" And I was like, "We just started using StreamYard." And I was like, "I don't know." She's like, 8, 10, 15. I was like, I don't. So she ended up bringing. This isn't even all of them. I think there's a few more that weren't on. So
Yeah.
this is the episode that went on for an hour and 45 minutes. I think almost 2 hours, and
Yeah.
it was so good. So we added her on again. And so I'll go to episode number 3 with Yolanda Adams. Yolanda, that was another awesome episode, and Dave and Derek joined us too.
Yeah.
Yolanda's up in Boone, North Carolina. She has changed jobs recently. She is now, if you remember, she was like a director at the school system in Watauga County up in North Carolina in
Yeah.
Boone, where Appalachian State University is. She's now working for Appalachian State University, doing
Cool.
what she was doing as a, I'm not sure what the title is, but she's an advocate for Spanish speaking families and people immigrating, and her community. Her community like grew exponentially with this bigger job. It's a bigger influence. And sorry, she is she's already very influential in that area and in North Carolina. And so I was watching her on LinkedIn, and we recently had Dave and James from Boone on the show, and they were telling me about her. And uh, so it just it gives her a working for a major university. It just amplifies your voice, right? I mean,
Yep.
it gives you global reach, which is just I'm so excited for her. I think she's an amazing human being. And then we had Evelyn on. Oh no, sorry, thought we had it on again. So oh yeah, and then Mike White. So
Mike White. That was a big one.
Zembruski with hospital. That was awesome. Yeah, man. So Mike and I went to high school together at Stonington High School, Southeastern Connecticut, where Matt went to high school. And um, Mike, I called him. So this is another example of someone that lived a life and career that allowed him to get to a point where he can say, "Yes, I can join your podcast," as a special guest. And he, um, he had recently, I saw online, I think it was on LinkedIn, where he and University of Connecticut received an award for green or sustainable dining services at all 8 of their dining rooms. And that has never been done before in the United States. So all of their dining rooms received this 5-star rating from green restaurants.
Amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. And so I saw that. I was like, dude, on LinkedIn, I don't think I had his cell phone at that point. And I forwarded him like a previous episode of maybe Yolanda or Evelyn. I said, "This is what my brother and I are doing. Do you want to come on here and talk,
Yeah.
about this awesome award and what you've been up to? And I would love to reconnect with you anyway. It's been a little while." So that was awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
talking about a guy that my feedback to him was like, dude, you've done this before. Like, and he goes, yeah, I have a lot. I've done a lot of speeches. I speak a
Yeah.
lot,
Really
the
good.
community and stuff like that. And I said, that was awesome, because that was just great, because we went off into a couple different directions, not just food and sustainability. He was talking about biofuel and
Yeah.
recycling food waste and stuff like that. And that was just awesome, man. Um, David Gaines, yeah. So we talked about social enterprising. There's David.
Yeah.
Another author that we had on. Uh, we were talking about his book Radical Business, and talk about someone that has a very similar mindset to us, and particularly about what drives him, and he's all about people. And he took this philosophy into and he wrote a book about it. And then he is the in charge of, or I think, executive director of the Social Enterprise Alliance, which Hospiamo joined this year, and um, he's an inspiration. And so what I learned there was that radical or rad is how radishes got their name was because radish is a root vegetable. So rad in Latin root, it means root. The
Wow. That's
the
right.
Latin root of rad is root, if I'm saying that right. And so his book here with the, got all the roots in here. So I loved that conversation. And that was the first one on the episode where he had his phone,
Yep.
if you remember, and it worked out great. I was a little bit nervous about that. I was like, what if we don't hear him? What if it's raining or something? I don't know.
The quality
But
was
man,
great.
it was awesome.
Yeah, it was really good.
So that was our fifth episode. Oh yeah, and then we had Will
Oh,
Cannon,
movie
the
stars.
LA team, the podcasting stars. Crime. Can you hear this?
Black Chevy Impala pulled up
Yeah.
alongside it. Inside, an unidentified man dressed in a blue suit and bow tie rolled down the window, drew a 9mm blue steel pistol, and fired into Biggie's SUV, striking the iconic rapper 4 times. Biggie was rushed to a nearby hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 1:15 a.m. Biggie Smalls was only 24 years old.
Oh, I was waiting for the ba 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 ba.
On March
They,
8th,
they did a really, really good job. That was a great podcast. That was fun.
Let me stop it. That's a bad stop. Sorry, Billy. Maybe that's better. Okay, sorry. I didn't want to get him. Maybe that's worse. Sorry, Bill. There he is. There he is. That's better. They're laughing. Okay, good. Yeah. So we talked about, they were at this time in June, I guess late June of this year, they were planning their season 4 of the true crime podcast called Killer Heart to Hearts. And so please, and now they're in season 4. It's the idea of their production value, their storytelling, their writing. Oh my
Yeah.
god! And we talked about this. So this is Elise Budell and Will Cannon with Killer Heart to Hearts, and so we talked about the ups and downs of planning it together. And the fact that what you just saw in there, remember that was in their closet, their dogs, like where their dog sleeps. And
Yeah.
it's like, you would never know that as a listener or a watcher. And I learned a lot about that from them. And so please, if you're listening here, just look up Killer Heart to Hearts podcast. And they're on like every platform known to mankind here. So, and he also knows Mike White because we all went to high school together. And so I'm just so excited to watch them grow and get all that. So that's our was one of our celebrity guests,
Yep.
right? We can
Yep.
say. And we've had more. So does anybody come to mind that we've had another celebrity guest?
What's her name? The the woman who we've watched her videos
Yep.
a lot of times.
I'll let you think that over, and then we're going to.
Yeah,
We
she's
had this episode. This was an awesome episode. So I'm gonna. It's a couple episodes from them. I think it's a couple episodes from now. This was so much fun, and we should do this again sometime. This were our books that moved us, like our movies
yeah.
that moved us.
Wonderful. Yep.
We talked about actually Welcome to the Neighborhood, or the
Uh,
Tom Hanks Mr. Rogers thing
yep.
movie, and a lot of the fun ones that we had in our life before.
Rudy, will you be my neighbor? Or whatever that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Time Bandits, all the good ones.
Peaceful Warrior.
Warrior.
Yep.
Yep. And we had.
Yeah, that was awesome. I
So
got a
I'll
lot
tell you.
of this one got a lot of feedback and views because they were like, oh, I love that movie too, and like people that I haven't heard from for a while, they gave me some suggestions to put on there for next time too.
Now I'll tell you a quick anecdote, bro. Is some of the teenagers in our house are getting into some of the just motivational things, like on YouTube where it's like The Rock says this and this person says this, and Jocko Willick and all these people, David Goggins, and all these things. Well, there was one on last week, and they were watching, and it was the scene from Rudy, my favorite scene in the whole movie, where the janitor comes up to him and Rudy's about to quit, right? And he's like yelling at him, and it's like going at it. And it was like, oh, I know, I was just so into it. I watched it, and I blew his mind because I said, you know what? That movie is based on a true story, and I met Rudy. He's like, what? You did? I was like, yeah, you got to see the whole movie. The movie's phenomenal. So the fact that a lot of these, like, and that's what we're doing here on the show, is we're bringing people, real people who move, real stories, right? And then, I think humans, we get most inspired by people who've already done it. People have already been out there, right? Someone runs faster, other people can run faster, right? Because it's like possible in their head. So anyway, I wanted to share that because
Nice.
I still think about that. And I said, you know what? This is a guy who was really small. He was small, not athletic, not smart. He had zero going for him. And because his family idolized Notre Dame, that was the one thing he had in his brain. Like, hey, if I could do this, I would be something. And he went all in for years and years and years. It's just it's still one of my favorite movies of all time. So anyway, I just wanted to share that because real
Me
person,
too. Yeah.
real person, amazing story. And, to get his movie made, he had to work really hard too. So it's amazing.
You got me a shirt and a hat. You were there with Mom, I think.
Yeah, I
And
think it
yeah,
was. Yeah.
and I still have the hat. I still
Yeah.
have it. And you got me the book, and he signed the book for
He
me.
signed the book. Yep. Yep.
Rudy's Rules.
Rudy's Rules. Yep.
And yeah, we should have an episode just on him. To be honest, Rudy Rudiger. And
We should look him up and see where he's at and bring him on.
yeah, yep,
Great dude. Awesome guy. Yeah.
yeah, that's so cool, man. And also not embellished. That story was not embellished, and that's what the reviewers say, right? The people that
Yeah.
are like, it really happened, kind of like that. And so the scene that I have in my head that you're just describing from Charles Dutton, the
Yes.
janitor, he goes, "You don't have to prove nothing to nobody except yourself."
Exactly.
Right?
Love it. Love it.
Woo! Yeah.
Woo!
I'm
I know
like,
it gets
"Tonight."
you.
Yeah.
It gets you. So
You know what also is there's like I want to say it might be a hip hop song, rap song, but they use Les Brown's "It's Not Over Until I Win"
yes, love Les.
speech, and they put his speech to a beat, and it's on YouTube. You should go check it out, dude.
Really?
It's like, I'm gonna go jump through that wall over there.
Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna go check that out later. Then that's awesome. I love Les. We got people in our house listening to Les too. He's on
That's
some of these
awesome.
things because a
Yep.
lot of these success motivational media companies, they're pulling a lot of this stuff in. Jim Rohn, Les Brown, Brian Tracy stuff. It's like it's all coming back in, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's huge. Yep.
So then we had
This is around episode 8 is when I started like kind of naming our episodes, and so I called this
Yep.
the uncomfortable episode
Yep, I
because
remember that.
we were talking about uncomfortable things like names that people use to describe others.
Yeah,
It was so interesting and deep. We did it a second time. I think it was the next week where I called it the uncover. So we had Evelyn on again, right? Where is it? Sorry, Evelyn, and then John Cardonia, two of our regular guests, right? Telling stories about things that they've had to overcome. Oh man, I'm just about to tell Mark. So Mark is here. I invited Mark on the show, Alvarez, and we're just about to talk about his episode.
Oh, awesome.
So Mark just popped in. So, oh man, I'm so excited. I'm really glad. Perfect timing, Mark, because he's the next episode that we're reviewing. And we can talk about his life. Mark, if I cannot see your face and it shows that you're muted. So in case you're
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Thank you for having me. I'm trying to fix this camera here, so just give me a second. I'm happy to see your faces.
take
Good
your
to see
time,
you.
man.
Well,
Take your
good to
time. That's
almost see
awesome.
you.
We perfect timing, Mark, because we're just about to do a episode 9 recap. Your perfect timing, and that was your episode.
There he is.
There's Mark. What's up, Mark? How you doing, man?
Good, guys. How you doing today?
Doing
Doing
great.
good. Good to
Great
see you. Thanks for popping in.
Yeah, I'm sorry I popped in a little bit on the late side, but today was a very special day. My daughter just graduated from the University of Miami, and
Woo!
go Canes. So I decided just to pop in. I'm in a great mood today. And happy to see your faces and be a part of your show once again.
Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Let me
congratulations.
remove this so I can have a screenshot. Look at these 3 good-looking guys here. All right.
To your daughter, man. That's awesome. Big accomplishment.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It's a very big deal here.
She excited?
Oh yeah, super excited. She's got a career lined up. She's starting to teach next year full time. She's doing interim teaching work right now, so she's set and in very good spirits. We're super happy for her.
Wow. That is just such a big accomplishment. That is so great. It's a lot of work to get there. Her whole lifetime to lead up to that point. Now she's blossoming and starting a new career. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's amazing, right, to see the youth growing up and getting into the next phase of their lives.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that. We were just talking about the movie Rudy and about how he did some impossible stuff and how people follow that. And Matt's family of teenagers are now watching clips of motivational speeches and stuff like that, and like quoting Rudy and Charles S. Dutton and stuff like that. And that in my mind, I start thinking about like, all right, we're calling it the People Who Move, podcast kind of a thing. And Mark, this is another great example. So you have moved your way through and become an adjunct professor at,
Correct.
was it Miami-Dade?
Correct, at Miami-Dade College.
Dude, and now your daughter is graduating college and becoming a teacher. So just all love, man. That's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Love to hear that. That's really cool.
So good.
Thank you.
Having
I
role
appreciate the
models and
support.
that's really nice, man. So we're going through a year in review. We've invited previous guests, so thank you so much for jumping on. You can stay as long as you want. We're getting another 15 or 20 minutes, or you can click back off if you get a call. It's totally up to you. So, this was your episode. We're on episode number 8 with your companies.
Talk about timing, huh?
So, your timing was right, man. Let me
People Who Move.
we talk about what we talked about. Oh yeah, we talked about a lot here. We talked about employee ownership. We talked about you, Rain's company, in the and HP Hotels, and your role as senior VP of people and culture. We talked about what does that mean, right? And like how it's human resources and operations and leadership and training. And this was the episode that was a follow-up to the previous episode, which was the uncomfortable episode when we talked about labeling people and naming and how uncomfortable that can be. But I personally got a lot out of that episode because it just everybody was sharing freely, and there's so much that we learned from diverse cultures and background. And so we talked about the some stats that we did about hospitality management and employee ownership. We talked about some and what is employee engagement. We had a lot of really nice comments come in from that episode too. So, Mark, you have yourself a great following of people that you've worked with and that respect you. So, thanks for spending the time on this episode and now today. So, thank you so much. It means a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. The other day I was having a discussion with a colleague about recruiting in our industry, and the question came up: what can we do to recruit better for our industry? And I said, the unfortunate part is that we don't have influencers, if you would. And I mean that in both senses of what a new influencer is and what an influencer used to mean to the old timers like myself, where it's somebody that has a positive influence in your life in this business. And what we're not doing good enough, and I love the fact that you and your brother are doing these shows and we're trying to get the word out there to people outside of our industry. We're not doing that enough as an industry. We recruit within ourselves, within our industry. We showcase our industry in our podcasts or on social media, but we don't really let the world know how special this business is, what the growth opportunities are, how much fun you can have in it, the different avenues that you can grow in, which Adam, you've done a fantastic job of doing that and showcasing, you can be an owner. Here's how you finance, and we're really talking about it. And you have a good audience that is not just hoteliers. So I appreciate that. I think it's really a valuable tool nowadays to be able to get the word out because the youth needs to come in and take our places, right?
Yes.
It's time to continue that evolvement. It's time to let others come in and take over. And, people just don't know, right? They think the hospitality is you're either a server, you're working in the kitchen, you're working the front desk, or you're doing housekeeping. They really don't understand the dynamics of our business. And yes, those are critical positions, but there's so much more to it. And if we don't spread that word, and if we're not showcasing, the life of an influencer that can do good things in our business, we're going to lose out. We're going to miss out on great people that are great hospitality oriented team members. And I really just wanted to say thank you for doing that.
It's an honor to do it, and because it really is in the truest sense of that word. Because it's, I have felt a bit of a duty to do that. If I'm not affiliated with one company, right, and I'm not, then what can I do that other people might not be able to? Maybe they're in a non-compete, maybe they're in some sort of confidentiality agreement where they can't do that. So, I did feel a couple years ago a bit of an obligation to, like, hey, let's start doing some industry-wide things. And to go through my own journey real quick on that, Mark, is the fact that I know that I in the past may have sounded judgmental, right? Because if I was saying like, oh, it doesn't have to be that way, or like, why is your, I don't know, your company's very siloed. I have used that term a lot, right?
Sure.
And I have grown to the point where, you know what? Of course you're siloed. You run a company, and you are
Right.
doing the best that you possibly can in that company. And so, this podcast, in a way, and how we've been connecting some people in that manner, I appreciate you putting words to it. And we are gaining momentum. And you and Carrie, you'll be receiving some information. I've been bulleting Carrie some stuff, saying like, hey, I've been working on some things that are going to help put a name and a system to what you're talking about. And I think there's so much more we can do.
And
Thank you for recognizing that, Mark. That means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I have my mother who's hanging out with me today as well. So I wanted to, she can't hear because I'm on the headset, but at least I just wanted to showcase her and say hi, Mama.
Congratulations on your granddaughter.
They're saying congratulations for Michi's graduation today.
That's nice.
And congratulations on such an awesome son. So give yourself a pat on the back there, Mark. Yeah.
Thank you.
I can see the pride.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Nice to meet you.
Have the same. You guys look alike. That's great.
Yeah, she's I'm mini her, even though I'm double the size. But I guess I get my charm and my wittiness from her. And I don't know about the good looks part.
Mark, I want to comment.
A generation and gone to my kids.
You're too modest. I want to comment, and then I got to hop off to go to another meeting. But I want to comment on what you said, Mark, and actually challenge you, bro. And I know you've thought about this a lot, but I'll use an anecdote. Is Mark, you mentioned communicating to the younger generation, right? The up and comers who, we want to make this industry, the hospitality industry, look as attractive as possible to represent what it really is. There's a lot of opportunity here, right? The challenge is to all of us is how can we communicate in a different way, not in the way that we were communicated to throughout our lives that worked for us and got into our heads, but how can we communicate into the heads and hearts of the youth in the way they want to hear it, the way they want to see it? And the example I'll give you is Adam and I, as brothers, we grew up in going to church every Sunday, then going to grandma's house for lunch afterwards, after church. We grew up in that. Everyone else in my house, my girlfriend, her kids, everybody else, nobody else grew up like that. So there's a lack of religious education. So I say that because one of the boys, who's 17 now, got invited to a church camp. It was a day camp in the summer. Went with some of his buddies, and he just went because his friends were going. He went, sort of got exposed to it a little bit, and then he says, "Wow, this is actually a pretty cool vibe here. This is neat." So long story short, for months now, he's been going to church like every Friday and Sunday. Didn't grow up with this at all. He's 17 now, and he's going up, and then he invited me and his mom to go with him, and his sisters and brothers and stuff. So we all went a few weeks ago, and I'll tell you, it's not at all like the church we grew up with, bro.
Really?
I met the pastor, and the pastor said, same thing you just said, Mark. They realized in order to have the church prosper and go forward, they needed to communicate to the youth. And when you go to that church, it's built around the youth. I mean, literally, you go in there. It's not like these quiet persons sitting at the front and then singing a hymn or whatever. Everybody stands up. Not like that at all. It's like a teenage high school musical party. You go in there and they got hymns going. They got electric guitar on stage. They got a 10-year-old on the drums. They got people singing and dancing, and they got the words for the hymns up on the TV screens. And it's very catchy. It's all religious. It's all got the church theme to it, but it's a completely different way of communicating. And it's engaging, and intoxicating is probably the wrong word, but it's very engaging to the youth. And guess what? They invite their friends. That's how our son got there, right? So I challenge us all to communicate in ways that are going to work to the youth. Like maybe it's like why hospitality is a cool thing made into a rap song, right? Made into something hip hop.
There's no bad idea, Matt. I think the key is, I don't understand the right way to communicate, right? I think the best thing that I can do is listen, and then have somebody who understands it better than we do, whatever their age is. They might be younger, they might be older, but that understands the communication process for a different generation. Yeah. Because let's face it, the music that we may listen to may not be the same music that somebody that's up and coming is listening to. And we might think it's horrible music, right? Like my parents did when I was growing up. They used to think that the music I was listening to was garbage. And then, I used to think that their music was garbage. But that communication is the fact that, we're generational. Yes. Different generations have different ways of communicating, different needs. And I think you hit the nail on the head, Matt. That church has it figured out, right? Yeah. I think we haven't figured it out yet. So I'm hopeful, with Adam and Matt, the way that you guys are working, and other organizations that are doing similar things. And Reigns, we're working on a whole social media platform right now to come out with some short video clips, et cetera. If we can start pushing that, and not just us, but everybody in our business, I think we'll start doing better.
Yeah.
The second L, I like what you said about listen. What do you do after you listen? I would say this was the hardest thing for me, and that is to let go. Give the responsibility to the person that does speak that language, right? And then just let it go. Let it fly. Step back and see what happens.
Adam, that's an emotionally intelligent person that can do that, right? Yeah. It's a challenge. It's an ego-driven way of wanting to hold on. So we can push our egos aside somewhat. We can let go. We can listen. I think we will learn a lot as well, and I think that's really going to open us up in a much better space in our business.
100% agree. And making that choice, as Michael Jackson said, be that change, or no, be the man in the mirror, right?
Yeah. No, and I know you've thought a lot about that, bro. So it's something we can talk about more later. But I think Mark brought up a really good theme. I just wanted to recognize that and then sort of challenge us as we go forward. Like, how can we attract a younger audience to the whole movement, to this podcast and to everything, right? It's just, let's think about that.
Well, guys,
think so too.
listen, I appreciate you letting me jump on.
Mark,
we're
we're
in a
going
little
to
bit of
finish
a
up here,
celebratory
man.
mode today.
You batted cleanup today, man. You batted cleanup. We're going to finish up. So thank you.
Awesome.
It's
Yeah,
been an
my
hour,
pleasure.
and dude, sincerely, genuinely, thank you for coming on here. And
Oh man, I wouldn't have had it any other way. You know, I always sign in. I always listen to your show. I'm super excited every week to watch it and listen and be a part of it once again. So thank you for having me and sending me that link today. Sorry I couldn't join earlier, but hey, better late than never, right?
you know what? We're going to turn the corner. We're going to try some different things next year. We got to. I think that we can do a lot better. And just like you said, we can really kind of go deeper into what a platform is and what it can be used for. And I think that we can do a lot. And you're a big part of that. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hey guys, big hugs.
Yeah, big hugs.
If I don't
Congratulations
see you or
again.
don't speak
Happy
with
holidays,
you
and
guys,
tell
Merry
your
Christmas.
mom thank you for stopping by. Your mom. That was
I
awesome.
appreciate it. That was a very special moment for me to have her on screen as well. So thank you.
Is it okay to share a screenshot on LinkedIn?
Oh, I will. Yeah.
Of your mom? Okay, yeah, I will.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can, that'd be great.
That's going to be the special guest of the year right there, man. Your mom.
Right.
Right on. I love it.
That's right.
Thanks, guys.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mark.
Hi, Mark. All right, bro. We can finish up here. That is we got to episode 9. We can do another recap some other time. This was last week all the way. I can fast forward. I can do this. I'll fast forward all the way down to episode number 29, which was the unknown episode, dude. So that's a great way to end it with Mark's inspiration into going into the unknown and like how do we communicate better into the unknown, all that kind of stuff. And so I'm spinning it a little bit in that direction. So this was awesome. And I've been writing some notes, bro, and everyone that's been on our show has a LinkedIn profile. Yeah. And so I'm going to make a follow-up post later when I throw on the link here, and I'm just going to mention everybody. And
thank you for a great 2023, and boop, 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 put all the links in, all the people in.
Yep.
Great idea.
Oh, you know what, bro? If you have to go, that's fine. But Bruce Jordan just popped in, so let me say hi to Bruce.
Cool. I'll let you say hi to Bruce. I'm going to hop.
Okay.
What's going on, guys?
Love you, bro. Hey, Bruce.
Man,
my brother's out and you're in.
I had a meeting that got a little overextended, so I'm like, oh no, hold on. Let me jump on before they say goodbye.
We just were saying goodbye, and I saw you pop on, and I was like, my brother had to go, and you're my new brother for the rest of the show. So we'll I can't see your face though. Do you have a video or no?
Yeah, I was looking for it's for some strange reason it's not connecting. Let me see if I can try this thing one more time.
I like that logo there. Is that your logo?
Which one?
That's kind of like a Chinese star kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's the what you call it?
The Michael Jordan of hotels came to visit us today. We're so honored. Bruce Jordan has his own podcast and his own platform, and the fact that you came on to bless us here with your presence, man, it means a lot. So thank you so much.
Anytime. Let's see what I can do.
That's all right. I'm looking for your episode because we were doing a here is, where are you? There's the man. You were episode 20, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you were episode 20, and
there we go. Yes, it works.
There's the man. Hey, buddy.
There you go. You can see me now.
It's good to see you. We were going through the year in review, and this is the 30th episode. We really only intended to have 10, and we're going to keep on going. Do you know the name Mark Alvarez at all with Rains Hospitality, Rains Company?
I've heard of Rains before. I don't think I'm familiar with Mark though. I don't think I've seen him at any of the events.
It's a great group. They merged together with HP Hotels, and they are based in South Carolina. They got I want to say about 25 or 30 hotels now, and actually it might be more than that. It might be 50. I think they have 50 hotels now.
With the merger?
Rains Co. So they're yeah, great group, and I've known Mark for a few years. He was a guest on the show, as you have been, and I'll tell you, the mentality is very similar. The things that you at the core, your core values, our core values, and Mark's core values, and we were talking about the industry and how we can all do a better job at getting the younger generation excited about it, and to the point where, for me, I think it was extremely exciting to me 25 years ago. Um, it's still exciting to me, but I think that for what we are, what we're doing, we can communicate better with them about changing, and so changing how we communicate. And so Mark popped on. He was episode number 7, like he came, or episode number 9. He popped on right when we were talking about him. And so, and then now you popped on, man. So thank you so much. I have like 1 minute, and then I have to go pick up my daughter. Um, the How are you, and how have you been? Do you have anything that did you write a book recently? Or are you selling anything new on your website? You
Oh
want to throw
yeah.
out? You're just an awesome entrepreneur, man. I just love talking with you.
The 2024 front desk log, communication log. I just launched that. It's on Amazon right now. Hopefully my book, The Hotel Revenue Bible, will be coming out either
Yeah.
towards the end of this month or the beginning of next month. That'd be great. But it's so funny that you said getting the young people, enthusiastic about joining hospitality. One thing that got me enthusiastic was bills that I had to pay. So, the younger people,
That's a very
live with their
enthusiastic area
parents
for me
longer,
also. Yeah.
Like, how old were you when you moved out?
Out of my house?
Yeah.
18. I went to college for 2 years, and then was a failure at college. I dropped out, and then I moved to Orlando, Florida, and was on my own. And about 5 years later, after I worked at Foxwoods for 5 years, and so resort casino. So I was promoted to manager at 20. I was a very young manager. So yeah, I've always been about that paycheck, and so I haven't had a paycheck for about 5 years, a steady one anyway. Been more independently doing my own projects, and that's fun and liberating, but it's not steady, and so that's right. So I'm all I think it's becoming good at something, and then becoming really good at something, and if it's something that you love to do, and I've always loved this business of hotels, because people are staying overnight, and you got like 100, possibly 1,000 people upstairs, and you're there, and you got to take care of them. You got to answer their call. And it's always been fascinating to me. A bit creepy, a bit like a voyeur might like that too. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on upstairs? There's like 1,000 people. What are they doing in their rooms alone?
The crazy thing is, we've been having higher issues especially with younger people, because they live with their parents, so they're like 30. So their parents, they're not going to kick them out. So they really don't have a need for a job, except like
That's a big
some
change,
beer
right?
money or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's a
That's a
little
big change.
compared to when we came up, when we were on our own. I moved out when I was 17, and I had rent to pay, so I couldn't afford to call out sick.
Yep.
I couldn't afford to quit. Okay.
No, my parents too. They were like, "Hey, you can leave college, but you're going to start paying us rent, because that means you got to go find a job, like, or you can keep on going to college." And I chose to quit college. I eventually went back on my own, get a 2-year degree. But yeah, no, they were serious about that, and yeah, I think that's probably worth a whole episode for us to talk about.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I gotta go, man. I wish we could hang out some more, but sincerely, thank you so much for coming on, man. It was great to see your face, and
Anytime. I wish I could have came on sooner.
you know what? Let's get you we'll plug here. Go to Amazon. I can't wait for that Revenue Bible. By the way, I have written a book, and I haven't told anybody about it. And
Really?
yeah, and it's I'm gonna tell you about it sometime soon. But your revenue Bible, you've told me about before. I'm excited for that. So keep an eye out on Amazon for Bruce Jordan, the Michael Jordan of hotels, the Hotel Revenue Bible, and then your 2024 front desk log. I can go on for another episode about the importance of a front desk log also. And so I've written in a lot of them. I've written some inappropriate things in some of them. So well, thanks, man. All right, let's hook up again soon, and thanks everybody for watching.
All right, fantastic.
See you later, Bruce.
All right, check you later.
Thank you.